I'd like to start by paying homage to the Lord Buddha, offering salutation to senior and junior monks respectively, and extending greetings to all the lay supporters who are listening in from home today. Welcome to this online session of Dharma in the evening here at Dhammakaya International Meditation Center in Azusa, California. I am Phra Nicholas Thanissaro. The format of this show is not so much a meditation lesson as a 1 hour-long Dhamma talk, but toward the end of the session there will be the opportunity to answer questions and also to share some news from the temple. In this week's Dhamma talk, we're going to be looking at some of the benefits of meditation and some of the special approaches needed to ensure success in the study of meditation. I will be upfront at the very beginning of this session that I'm not very familiar with teaching live online. If this were my chosen line of work, I would probably be better suited to radio or podcasts rather than as a YouTube video influencer. Therefore, I'm going to play it safe with a scripted format, and I'm going to go back to basics with some of the material I originally broadcasted on the DMC satellite channel program called Meditation for All back in 2005 with some updates and modifications for American audiences. We have only a makeshift teleprompter here at the temple, so forgive me if I don't seem to be looking directly at the camera for much of the time. For those viewing live via YouTube, you'll be able to see the PowerPoint slides that go with the presentation. In any case, the slides will be edited into the on-demand recording of this presentation that ends up on the DIMC Information YouTube channel. And for any of you with burning questions, you can send them in via line to the temple staff, and I will catch up with them by next week's session and do my best to answer those questions to make the program a little bit more interactive. Let us start by trying to answer the question, what is meditation? Our human being consists of both body and mind, and if we have a mind without a body, then we would call it a ghost or a spirit. But if we have a body without a mind, we would call it a corpse. We need to have both body and mind together in balance if we are truly to be a human being. Normally, we take good care of the body. We take exercise every day. We feed our body with 3 or 4 meals a day, and I'm sure you wouldn't consider going for an entire week without taking a shower. But what of the mind? How often did we ever consider cleansing the mind, or finding food for the mind, or giving exercise for the mind? For most of the time, we treat ourselves as if we're made up of nothing more than a body. And this is why we need to check in with ourselves, specifically our state of mind, on a regular basis. Our well-being depends on the delicate relationship of mental and physical equilibrium. But this can be disturbed easily, especially under the toll of modern-day stress. Does anybody here feel they're under stress? Do any of you have difficulty sleeping properly? It might mean that even as you try to unwind from the day's events and attempt to let go of stressful thoughts, your body may still be carrying the residue of accumulated tensions, which will deeply affect your ability to relax. Even if you make a special effort to release your physical tension, such as by going for a walk or watching the TV, if your mind is preoccupied with worries or negative thoughts, then a part of you will remain entangled in the vicious cycle of stress. What is happening to you mentally will determine the health of your physical well-being. So how do you use your body will profoundly affect your peace of mind. Although it's long been known that meditation can provide food, cleansing and exercise for the mind all in one, because people misunderstand that meditation is difficult, time-consuming or costly, and we'll come back to examine some of those common misconceptions about meditation later on in the program. For people in general, hardly any time is devoted to meditation each day. The state of our minds is in neglect. Instead of using the full potential of the mind, we may use only 5% of the total potential in our minds. The art of meditation is for you to find out about a new way to allow your body and mind to become friends and allies in the face of stress. They need to become equal partners, supporting one another and working together to prevent or redress imbalances that can occur so easily. Meditation is a quality of being rather than a state of activity or inactivity. Whether you're busy doing something or you are at rest, true meditation occurs only when the body and mind are functioning in harmony, as an integrated unity, whole and unfragmented. Once you've understood this integral link between your body and mind, you will understand that it's something that is our shared heritage, just like the air that we all breathe, or the sun, the moon, or the stars that all of us see shining up in the sky. Meditation is a technique for unifying and focusing the mind. It allows us to transform the usual nature of the mind, that is, to let the attention be scattered by thoughts and phenomena around us in the world. All the meditation techniques in the world can be divided into two different categories, according to the place where the attention is placed during meditation. The first sort of meditation is that where the focus of the attention is focused outside the body, which includes such practices as those of hermits and recluses, self-hypnosis, and trances. The second sort of meditation focuses the attention within the body, which includes the various sorts of mainstream meditations which are aimed at the liberation of the mind. In the classic meditation manual called the Path of Purity, 40 different types of internal meditation are listed, of which the Dhammakaya meditation we are familiar with is one. Dhammakaya meditation can be considered to consist of a synthesis of breathing meditation, because it uses the turning point of the deepest breath as the point of concentration. It can also be said to be mindfulness of the body, because one of the aims of meditation is to be able to attain the inner bodies within our physical body. And it's also meditation upon brightness. Dhammakaya meditation is characterized by the use of the center of the body as the focus for the mind and the stopping of the mind. In other words, letting our thoughts die down to silence as a chief aim of meditation. There are different approaches to Dhammakaya meditation that will suit different people of different personalities and qualities of mind. In the course of my online lectures, we will have the chance to look at a variety of alternatives so that you can make an informed choice about the approach to meditation most suitable for you. As meditation has become increasingly well known in popular culture, there have been a number of misconceptions that have built up around it, and we can examine a few examples of these to try to explode a few of the myths. Firstly, you do not need a special place for meditation. You can meditate anywhere you choose. It's not necessary to have a special place to meditate. You can meditate alone at home, and we would encourage you to do this every day. You can meditate as part of a group. Ideally, once a week is good to meditate as part of a group because we can give each other encouragement, and sometimes in the home we are tempted to get a little bit lazy, and we can discuss our experiences and our progress with others. Meditation in a group is usually easier for us to bring the mind to a standstill, because rather like ice cubes that take longer to melt if they are put in a bag with a bunch of other ice cubes. Secondly, meditation does not need to be time-consuming. Meditation is well suited to our lives because people in the modern world who have only limited time away from their many commitments to practice for inner peace will welcome the news that maybe it takes only half an hour a day in order to make good progress in one's regular practice of meditation. Thirdly, you do not need to sit in a special position for meditation. You can sit on a chair. It's not necessary to sit in the half-lotus position if this is not convenient for you. If you feel uncomfortable, you can change position, and I would encourage you to explore which of the many different sorts of meditation mats suits you the best, or whether you need to sit on a chair instead. Also, you do not need to rely on a teacher for meditation. Through self-observation, you can go a long way towards being your own teacher in this meditation technique. Unlike some other forms of meditation, you can practice Dhammakaya meditation without a teacher, without fear of straying from the correct path. As long as with Dhammakaya meditation you still have self-awareness and feel happy, and as long as you're still concentrating with your attention inside the body, you cannot go far wrong. And of course, there are always qualified staff from the meditation center close at hand in case you do need advice. Furthermore, you do not need to change your beliefs in order to practice meditation. Meditation deals with another part of your mind and spirit than your religious beliefs. It's like cleaning the window of your house rather than changing the view outside. Meditation will help you to see the same view you have always had, but more clearly and with improved definition, enriching the spiritual inspiration you started out with. What's more, meditation can be practiced by those of all ages. Some of the best meditators are the 10-year-old children, because their mind is not cluttered up with worries and responsibilities in their lives. However, they may fail to see the real value of meditation because they are able to get results without making too much effort. As for those in old age, well, they can bring the maturity and experience of a lifetime to their meditation practice. And although it may be harder to shake the negative residues of life, senior citizens will easily see the impact meditation makes on their peace of mind in life. Moreover, meditation need not be expensive. In the old days, you might get charged an exorbitant price for your personalized mantra, and some meditation apps out there still seem to charge quite a high monthly subscription. However, in our community where meditation is mostly taught by monks, and within a not-for-profit framework, there are many examples of good meditation teaching which are absolutely free. And I'll tell you about the latest app called MindGem for learning Dhammakaya meditation English at the end of this program, which is definitely free. Also, meditation is not something new. Because they have seen meditation and mindfulness in trendy health magazines, some people assume meditation is just a newfangled fad that will soon disappear and be replaced by something yet more fashionable. However, from what we know of the history of meditation, if it is a fad, has lasted so far for about 3,000 years, but it has been subject to constant rebranding. Even so, meditation does not need to be mystical. There are many schools of meditation practice which are shrouded in secrecy, or maybe they are not very open about the way they express or discuss. But within the Dhammakaya tradition of meditation, we try to be open about our experiences and avoid secrecy by expressing, discussing, and comparing our experiences in order to learn from one another. Lastly, meditation does not need to be religious. Meditation can be religious or it can be a secular practice. It's really up to the meditator to choose. Dhammakaya meditation can fit well into any spiritual tradition you choose, or it can be practiced simply as a way to relax and understand yourself and the world more clearly. Both ways of practice are equally valid. We each have our own reasons for taking up meditation. These can be many and varied, but they usually boil down to a wish to redress the balance of body and mind. The motivation may be expressed in different ways. For example, on the more physical side, maybe people meditate for health or stress prevention. On the more spiritual side, in order to get self-realization or on some sort of spiritual impulse. It's not uncommon for doctors to recommend meditation. Meditative techniques, particularly those involving visualization, are now commonly taught to patients with serious diseases. As mentioned earlier, there is a very strong link between the mind and the body. Disease often follows anxiety, stress, or depression. Meditation proceeds from a state of physical relaxation and uses the mind to calm the body. Deep relaxation creates certain conditions within the body which are physically beneficial. Meditation has the power to awaken us to the spiritual levels of our being, but through inner experience. Meditation enables us to discover who we really are and what we may achieve. It brings us to a state of self-realization, which is the highest expression of human nature. Today, I'm not going to talk about my opinion of what is good about meditation, but what I'll do instead is simply tell you what the scientists have discovered about meditation. Thousands of research papers from 1935 down to the present time have found evidence for the benefits of practicing meditation. And as you can see from the graph, that the interest in meditation has been increasing almost exponentially in recent years. Despite some recent detractors such as Van Dam and Associates, the general consensus concluded by Hoffman Associates is that there is a significant and reliable body of evidence that meditation has broadly beneficial effects for practitioners. There are 4 levels at which research evidence has shown benefits brought by meditation. That is brain physiology, clinical, personality, and society. Most of the benefits discussed here are applicable to meditation techniques in general, although if time allows, I'll come back specifically to the benefits of Dhammakaya meditation. Some of the studies on meditation in the 1970s admittedly had some problems, such as having too few subjects or not being randomly controlled trials, but these problems have been rectified in more recent studies. To start with brain physiology, although when meditators talk about the mind, they usually mean the awareness rather than the brain, there are places where awareness and brain function overlap. Recent advances in brain neurophysiology, particularly the fMRI scan, have allowed activity of the brain to be monitored in live human subjects and have shown that the brain experiences several demonstrable advantages from regular meditation practice. Contrary to the assumption that the brain stops developing after childhood and deteriorates from young adulthood onwards, brain changes linked with meditation show meditators can, to their advantage, exploit the phenomenon of neuroplasticity to continue rewiring their own brains throughout their lifetime. Our brains have several inbuilt weaknesses that render us disproportionately sensitive to suffering in life. Owing to survival adaptations that are a throwback to prehistoric times, when the brain scans for stimulation, it tends to ignore happiness and instead register, recall, and react preferentially to unpleasant experiences. Negative experiences are stored indelibly in the hippocampus. Maletic and Associates showed that a single episode of depression can reshape circuits of the brain to make future episodes more likely. Suffering cascades into the body via something called the sympathetic nervous system, or SNS for short, causing reflexive flight or fight responses. The prefrontal cortex, which I'm going to call PFC, that's not KFC, it's PFC, prefrontal cortex, and the anterior grey matter of the frontal lobe play a role in the rational regulation of emotional functioning. Gousenard and Associates showed the failings of the PFC include rehearsal of negativity and failure to control negative impulses. Thinning of the PFC is associated with depression and memory loss. The limbic system is a complex system of nerves and networks in the brain linked to instinct and mood. It controls the basic reflexive emotions and drives, but often fails to do this. The anterior cingulate cortex, or ACC for short, appears to play a role in compassionate emotion. Moving on to the advantages to the brain of having a meditational lifestyle, Newberg and Associates showed that meditation helps the rational PFC to train to control the emotional limbic system. Meditation was linked with increased blood flow in the PFC, and Lazar and Associates linked meditation with cortical thickening, suggesting that meditation may offset age-related thinning of the cortex, leading Peterson and Associates to conclude that for depression, meditation may offer an alternative way to avoid or roll back depression that usually requires coaching, psychotherapy, or medication. As Lush and Associates have demonstrated, meditators are more in touch with their subconscious urges than others. By implication, they have more chance to catch and control urges before they lead to damaging behavior. This is certainly true of meditators' enhanced ability to control SNS fight or flight reflexes, since Levinson presented evidence to show long-term meditation can train a person to startle less at loud noises. Newberg and associates showed that meditation also increased blood flow to the thalamus, which is associated with higher cognitive processing. Lutz and associates showed that meditative expertise seems to enhance compassionate emotions by stimulating the ACC. Hultzel and associates were able to show that meditation is associated with increased gray matter concentration in the regions of the brain involved in learning and memory processes, emotion regulation, self-referential processing, and perspective taking. Like crying over spilt milk, often the extreme reactions we make to negative circumstances in our lives have a worse impact on our well-being than the circumstances themselves. Meditation makes a person less susceptible to these secondary reactions. Apart from stimulating increased blood flow to beneficial parts of the brain, meditation also seems to affect the brain positively through the patterns of brain waves it produces. Meditation is known to synchronize powerful gamma brain waves. Similarly, non-directive meditation increases theta and alpha brain waves, according to Lakopoulos and associates, who are able to demonstrate that the brain activity during meditation is usually associated more with wakeful, relaxed attention than merely with brain downtime. In conclusion, meditation provides more balanced brain functioning. Moving on from the benefits of meditation seen in brain physiology, it appears that meditation can help overcome several clinical conditions that diminish our subjective well-being. Research shows meditation to be a good alternative therapy for stress, depression, sleep disorder, and other health conditions. Meditation has also been shown to reduce stress. Sutsung and associates have shown that Dhammakaya meditation, like other methods of meditation, is linked with reduction of the symptoms of stress such as serum cortisol levels and high blood pressure. Pulse rate and maximal voluntary ventilation are also reduced. Research more generally on mindfulness by Talkovsky and Lang has shown meditation to be a promising alternative for the treatment of PTSD. Kasantikun and associates showed that Dhammakaya meditation is effective in treating clinical depression, especially where depression has been triggered by pessimistic outlook on the world. More generally, Ma and Teasdale have shown that meditation is linked with reduction in the risk of depression relapse. On the subject of sleep disorders, Bankit and Silhan showed that long-term meditators may need less sleep than average, and Woolfolk and associates showed that meditation can provide an effective treatment for insomnia, benefits that are sustained even over a 6-month period. Other aspects of health where meditation has shown to be beneficial include chronic pain, where Veihoff and associates' recent review of 22 studies concluded that acceptance-based interventions such as meditation have small to medium beneficial effects on physical and mental health of chronic pain patients. Muir's research showed that there have been a number of cases of cancer regression following intensive meditation, even in the absence of orthodox medical treatment. Cooper and Igen showed that serum cholesterol levels were significantly reduced in those who practiced meditation regularly for a year, and Wilson and associates showed that meditation has proved a useful adjunct in treating asthma. Chen and associates' review of 36 studies showed the efficacy of meditation in reducing the symptoms of anxiety. Cobrigade and associates showed that if practiced regularly, meditation can help prevent coronary heart disease, myocardial infarction, and reinfarction. And Wells and associates showed that meditation can be effective in helping to reduce the frequency and severity of migraine attacks. Meditation can even help us stay young, since according to research by Wallace and Associates on standard tests of biological aging, including auditory threshold, near-point vision, and systolic blood pressure, meditators were found on average to be 2.2 years younger than their expected age ratings. Some benefits of meditation for the personality. Evidence shows that meditation helps with happiness and positive affect, personality and self-esteem, self-actualization, empathy, spirituality, and enhanced learning ability. Meditation can help a person change from reliance on external conditions to make us more happy. And we all know that external conditions are beyond our control, to turn instead to conditions inside themselves, which are definitely much more under our own control. According to Beauchamp, Terma, and Levinson, frequent meditators reported a significant higher level of positive affect and lower levels of anxiety, hostility, and dysphoria. Research by Smith and Associates showed that there were improved measures of happiness when meditating as compared to subjects following a personal happiness enhancement program who didn't meditate. Meditation also has a role in enhancing personality and self-esteem, leading someone closer to reaching their goals, becoming more settled, satisfied with their responsibilities, more patient and accepting of the things beyond their control. Bupatana and Sribandit's research on the connection between Dhammakaya meditation and character building has shown that a range of character virtues are perceived more clearly in practitioners as they accumulate more meditation experience. Nystulengard found that meditators generally have a more positive perception of their behavior. Taylor's research found increased self-esteem in meditators even amongst HIV-positive men. Emma Vardana and Torrey found meditation increased overall self-esteem, feelings of worth, benevolence, and self-acceptance in those who had followed a 7-day meditation retreat. Sridevi and Rao found that meditation was associated with an increase in measures of positive personality growth. Meditation has been shown to enhance self-actualization, which means becoming the best version of yourself. Nystulengard found meditators were able to score more positive than non-meditators in terms of self-concept, as measured on the Tennessee self-concept scale. Turnbull and Norris found the more they meditated, the more they came to perceive their actual selves as being increasingly similar to their ideal and social selves. Alexander and Associates' review of 42 studies found significant improvement in self-actualization as a result of meditation, and on an orientation inventory for their personality, both Niddick and Associates and Seaman and Associates found that those who had meditated for 10 weeks had significantly higher scores on inner-directed and time-competent scales. Accordingly, Vandenberg and Mulder concluded that those who meditated had higher levels of self-esteem, satisfaction, ego strength, self-actualization, and trust in others. In the workplace, meditation has been found to increase production efficiency, with increasing degree of satisfaction of the workforce, enhancing the development of work skills, and reducing the frequency of changing job. Meditation was shown to increase friendly relations in the workplace as well. Mascaro and Associates found that meditation helps in the development of empathy, to the extent that undergoing meditation for 8 weeks helped meditators identify expressions of faces in photographs with improved empathetic accuracy. Shapiro and Associates found that increased levels of empathy were found in meditating students. Fennell and Associates found that a single session of meditation has been shown to increase indices of anger reduction in experienced and novice meditators alike. Kolsawara's research found that meditation was found to be associated with becoming more open-minded, as defined by the Rogic dogmatism scale. The researchers Cowger, Torrance and Fair found that college students who meditated attained significant gains in creativity, as defined by heightened consciousness of problems, perceived change, invention, sensory experience, expression of emotion or feeling, humor and fantasy. Weinberg and associates were able to show that the qualities of having a sense of basic trust, openness and caring, otherwise known as affiliative trust, and having a positive sense of being part of something larger than oneself, otherwise known as a oneness motivation, increased over the course of a mindfulness intervention. Tolopkinski and Tantriella showed that meditation also helped with proficiency in solving interpersonal problems. That meditating is associated with a deepened sense of spirituality is supported by the studies of Astin and Shapiro and associates, which showed that significant higher scores than average were obtained on a measure of spiritual experience in a group of undergraduate students that had learned meditation. Hyland has also noted, however, that in some cases mindfulness and meditation have been commercialized and banalized to the point that they have become nothing more than a secularized therapy, so-called MAC mindfulness, with a reduced potential to stimulate any connection with spirituality. In the world of education, meditation was found to improve scores on intelligence tests. Studies such as that of Cranston and Associates indicated that meditation enhances learning abilities. The association between meditation, learning, and intelligence has been explained by Abrams as the way meditation seems to enhance memory and accelerate knowledge acquisition. In elementary schools, Napoli, Skonert-Reisel, and associates have shown mindfulness practice helps with cognitive outcomes, social educational skills, and well-being of students. Chang, Hybert, and Hall have shown that meditation in public schools and universities is associated with significantly higher grades. Meditation for 10 minutes each day before the study of food science in Thai secondary school was also shown to significantly increase study scores. Alexander and associates have also shown that meditation improves cognitive flexibility for the elderly. That meditation can help in the prevention and cure of social problems is the final category of benefits I want to highlight today. That meditation can be linked to social well-being is based on the idea that society is a sum of the individual parts that comprise it. The more people in any society who learn to meditate and live peacefully, the more shared endemic problems like crime and drug abuse will be diminished. On a more metaphysical level, practicing meditation helps to roll back unwholesome influences in the world. It should be admitted that on this level, the benefits of meditation are harder to prove unless research is available. That meditation helps with rehabilitation of prison inmates was shown by a meditation intervention by Abrams and Siegel at Folsom State Prison in California, where prisoners trained in meditation and showed decreased anxiety, neuroticism, resentment, negativism, irritability, hostility, and prison disciplinary rule infractions. Incorporating meditation in the lifestyle of individuals recovering from addiction was also shown by Pruitt and associates to provide a consistent means of preparing for the inevitable addiction-related life challenges. Meditation was also shown by Sheffield and associates to help reduce alcohol abuse. That meditation has social implications was shown in a study by Hanley and Spates, which discovered that long-term meditators more than short-term meditators were significantly less socially withdrawn, more positive in their outlook on human nature, more sociable, and had less pronounced feelings of social inadequacy. In a consciousness-based approach to peace, mostly pioneered by transcendental meditation, to achieve a critical mass of higher awareness through a unified field and a shift of consciousness, the notable example of the Global Peace Initiative was reported by Hagelin and Associates, a study which arranged for 4,000 experts in meditation to meditate together in Washington, D.C. in 1993, an event which coincided with a 23% reduction in crime rates in that city. Similar approaches have been applied by Orm Johnson and Associates to reduce the collective tension precipitating terrorism and international conflict, and by Davies and Alexander to reduce political violence. Many people were outraged when philosopher Ken Wilber claimed that the best way to stop famine in the world is to meditate. However, when Joaquim Chissano became the president of Mozambique at the end of a 15-year-long civil war that had left millions dead, he also had the chance to learn how to meditate. Rather than trying to shore up his own power by enacting revenge on rebel forces, he compromised, rescuing almost 3 million people from extreme poverty in the period 1997 to 2003. Chissano's rationality and compassion as a leader, alleviating poverty and healing a broken country, is attributed to his commitment to meditation, and it is noticeable that Chissano did not meditate alone but required his whole family, all his government ministers, police and army to meditate as well, twice a day for 20 minutes. So just to summarize some of the remaining other general research literature on meditation, evidence shows that meditation, more than any other phenomenon, including hypnosis, sleeping, or physical exercise, will reduce anxiety and give improved performance in sports. Regular practice of meditation was found to lower sensory thresholds and reduce adaptation time to changes of environment. Self-actualization, mental stability, self-confidence, self-acceptance, and sociability were increased by meditation. At the same time, aggression, anxiety, and neuroticism were reduced by meditation, and meditation even helped schoolchildren, prisoners, and the general public to overcome their addictions. Having seen the benefits of meditation can bring, it's now appropriate to look at the mechanism by which the still mind can have an effect both on the quality of the body and the quality of the mind. As we have said, the mind belongs inside the body, but even so, most people in the world are so concerned about the affairs of the world, about them, that they let their attention, and therefore their mind, drift out of control, outside their body for most of the time. The decisive factor in this absent-mindedness is our concern about the affairs of the outside world. Attachment comes in the guise of both love and hate. Attachment pulls your mind outside the body. For example, if you go into a jewelry store and drool over a diamond ring, where is your mind at that time? Your mind, of course, is on the diamond ring and not under control inside your body. On the contrary, whenever you see someone you hate walking down the street, and you're so angry you'd like to punch them on the nose, where is your mind at that time? Your mind is not with you, but it's with that person. Euphoria and depression, the peaks and troughs of human experience, are both the result of a disembodied mind. The longer the mind stays outside the body, and the farther it drifts away, the more suffering and troubles it will bring back to the owner. Some people are so concerned about their business or their partner and children that their mind knows nothing but unrest. Only if they can manage to bring their mind back to their body from the outside world can they possibly escape from all their stress and anxieties. The starting point for meditation is to help reduce the suffering of living beings, is to offer a practice for ourselves, to train ourselves to bring the mind from outside our bodies back inside ourselves. The mind is a subtle phenomenon and cannot be handled like something solid. Instead of being able to grab the mind and bring it back inside the body, we have to use the power of the imagination, the power of the mental faculty as employed in meditation. In fact, there are many well-known methods of meditation, of which the most common technique is that of following the breath. The focus of the mind in this case is often something physical, the breath, or it can be something in the imagination like an imaginary crystal ball or an imaginary ball of sunlight inside the body. This is the linking factor which gradually reduces the amount of time the mind spends drifting outside the body, until with practice, the mind will spend more time inside the body than outside. There is a difference in meaning between distracting your mind from your troubles and connecting with profound peace on the inside. Distracting yourself may seem like a reduction of suffering, but it's just filling your mind with a different sort of thoughts in the mind. True stillness of the mind is qualitatively different altogether from a mind filled with thoughts. It's like a man who has beaten his head against a wall all his life. Whenever he stops beating his head against the wall, he thinks he's found happiness. But I'm sure you all know that this is not really true happiness. You do not need to get used to beating your head against the wall in order to discover happiness. It is the same difference in feeling between distraction and true stillness of the mind. There is a feeling of inner quietude which comes as a result of re-establishing the mind inside the body. But really this is only a dim reflection of the deep happiness that comes from the mind firmly at a standstill. Such quietude will be familiar to those who have practiced breathing meditation. However, if a meditator distracts themselves by constantly following the movement of the breath, they will never have the chance to experience the real happiness that comes from a still mind. In order to move up from mere distraction to a standstill, it is necessary to give up following the breath in and out, and to rest the mind gently as if it were completely empty, relaxed, and contented. Thus, in order that the mind come to a standstill as quickly as possible, such moving objects of meditation which you have heard of, such as following the breath or the rising and falling of the stomach, are not recommended. Eventually, the mind will come to a standstill by itself without any need to imagine any image in the mind. The key difference between the mind under the sway of thoughts and a mind that has come to a standstill is that the latter consumes virtually no metabolic energy. When the mind comes to rest, it uses less energy, and when it uses less energy, the metabolism is less. When it uses less metabolism, oxygen consumption is less, and with less oxygen consumption, then the breathing becomes shallower. And this feeds back into itself because, rather like the wind which may whip up the waves on the surface of an ocean, if the breathing becomes more subtle, then it actually decreases the number of thoughts in the mind still further, in a sort of positive feedback loop. When no thoughts arise anymore and the breath is subtle, at that stage something new will happen in the mind, which is known as the stopping of the mind. And at that stage there will be the arising of some sort of inner illumination. At that time the breath may seem to become unnoticeable because your body metabolism is so subtle that it is barely noticeable. At this point, brightness inside will increase further. Thus, when you sit for meditation and pitch blackness starts to turn grey, the metabolism of the body is getting more refined and the process of the mind coming to a standstill has already begun. Only when the mind is truly still will brightness arise in the mind without having to imagine or visualize brightness anymore. Brightness will occur automatically in the mind. If the mind should become stiller than this, then the brightness will condense into a bright sphere of inner radiance. The most important consideration for transforming the quietude of the mind to a standstill is simply to maintain the awareness that the breath is moving in and out, but not to follow it any longer. In this way, the mind comes to a standstill because it still uses up a minimum of metabolic energy inside the body. We simply allow the mind to rest with the awareness that the breath is flowing in and out, and this will reduce the amount of energy used still further. There's only one condition in the practice of meditation, and that is that if you're going to place your mind at a certain point, then you should use only the very lightest attention possible, or else you will fall into the trap of using more energy when in fact you are aiming for the energy to die down completely. Some people rest their mind at this point with too much force, as if they're using energy unwittingly and they're too heavy-handed. If you find you're using too much force in your meditation, then imagine the desired point is not the size of a pinpoint, but much larger, so that it will be easier for you to find. The use of the breath in mainstream meditation is different from the use of the breath in yoga. In yoga, there still needs to be a following of the in-breath and the out-breath, because energy is required to exercise and move the muscles. In ancient times, the yogis would not be content only to go through yoga exercises, but would periodically allow their breath to go subtle as well, to discover the sphere of brightness. What the yogis did not realize was to locate the sphere of brightness inside themselves in order to bring their mind to a firm standstill. This was the breakthrough of mainstream meditation that has allowed us to gain such an efficient technique to train the mind in the present day. You can think of the meditation being like focusing the potential of the mind by bringing the mind to a standstill at a point which is single and unified. Usually we use only 5% of the full potential of the mind because the power of the mind which has no focus is scattered in all directions. The power of the untrained mind is rather like a pet monkey that has not been trained. You may have heard of the monkey mind, and this is exactly what the mind is like, because it will jump like the monkey from branch to branch according to its interests and without heeding the wishes of its owner. If you compare it to an electric flashlight, it is as if each ray of light alone has no intrinsic power, and it will not shine very far or very brightly like a flashlight without a reflector. When we start to meditate, however, by concentrating the mind on a single object such as a crystal ball or the sound of a mantra, the power of the mind is withdrawn from 1,000 concerns into a single unified focus. Like the beam of a flashlight with a reflector, it can start to light up the world around us. If we focus the beam of the flashlight to a single point, however, the light will be very bright indeed, allowing us to see the detail of the things in the world around us. With the well-trained mind, it is the same. Once the mind becomes more unified by meditation, it will allow us to see and gain insight into the inner world of the mind in a way not previously possible. Thus, in our meditation, we must practice often and with diligence so that our mind can become as unified and focused as possible. The point inside where the mind can really come to a standstill was very difficult to discover. Just as Sir Isaac Newton had so much difficulty in establishing the center of gravity, masters of this meditation technique had to stake their lives in order to find the point which should be the focus for yogic practice. As for yoga and Chinese martial arts, the power of the breath can be harnessed to give miraculous powers and the ability to perform physical feats, but it cannot be used to discover how to bring the mind to a firm standstill, and it cannot generate wisdom or insight. The real purpose of practicing meditation is in order to get that wisdom or insight. If you can find the point in meditation which is the center of gravity, then you will discover that this is the point where the inner brightness will arise. This is the point found by Phra Nicholas Muni, the great abbot of Wat Pak Nam, in the central axis of the body, 2 finger breadths above the level of the navel. As mentioned earlier, one of the distinguishing features of Dhammakaya meditation is the use of the center of the body as a place to rest the mind. And the center of the body is used for 4 reasons. Firstly, it's the only place in the body where the mind can come to a standstill without thoughts arising in the mind anymore. It's also a place where body and mind can come into balance and harmony. And maybe a good illustration of this is an object which, if you find the center of it, you can bounce it on your fingertip with no effort whatsoever. However, if it's off-center, then you really have to use a lot of force in order to hold that object in one place. It's the same with the center of the body. If you can get to the center of your body and mind, then everything else in meditation would just fall into place so much more easily. The center of the body is also a turning point of the breath and the deepest point of the in-breath. It's the place where the breath hesitates or stops between the in-breath and the out-breath. And lastly, it is a center of wisdom in the body. It aligns with the system of chakras used in yogic practice, and in Hinduism, this point is in the solar plexus is known to be the seat of wisdom in the body. The exact position of the center of the body is 2 finger breadths above a point in the center of the body at the meeting point of an imaginary line between the navel through the back and the line between the 2 hips as shown on the diagram. This point is sometimes called the 7th base of the mind. And if you find you're not sure about the location of the center of the body, there's no need to worry about that when you're meditating. Really, anywhere in this general area of the stomach will do. Digesting the goodness of meditation is something that takes a long time. Just like nutrients in the body we have eaten take many hours to be digested, absorbed, and incorporated into the cells of our bodies. We can only get limited benefits from meditation by meditating on and off, or just meditating once and forgetting about it. We need to have continuous contact with meditation in order to absorb its benefits, and this means finding some time to meditate, however short, each day. Meditation will be of only limited use to us if we practice it now and then. The key to success is a commitment to meditate once or twice every day. Like embarking on a new career with a new employer, if you only turn up for work when you feel like it, you're unlikely to get very far in your career. Everybody has the same difficulty in the first few months of practicing meditation. Therefore, if you're interested to progress in meditation, you should meditate at least once a day, picking a time when you know you will be free every day. In the morning, you should do a little exercise to refresh your body and then sit down to meditate for a few minutes. This will give you a perfect start to your day. In the evening, just before you go to bed, find time to meditate again to relax your body and relax your mind and allow you to make the most efficient use of your time asleep. The most important thing is to fix the habit of meditation in your everyday life and meditate in the same period of time each day so it's easy to remember. This is vital if you want to see progress. All I can do is try to give you the encouragement you need to meditate every day at home, but ultimately it relies on each individual to have the self-discipline to make the time in order to meditate each day. Remember, meditation is like sports or crafts or skills of any type. For all of these activities, you will never become skilled just by talking about it or by reading about it. You actually have to get the experience by doing it. At the moment, we can rely on our online community to keep up our level of inspiration, which might not be the same as being able to congregate to meditate, but hopefully when the medical uncertainties of the present day have passed by for too long, we can get back to physically joining in at our local meditation groups and activities like we used to. You need to persevere with training in meditation just as a sport player needs to train to play their sport properly. A runner may train themselves for a full year or run many miles simply to sprint 100 meters for an important race. In the same way, success in meditation may need us to take many years of practice to raise the mind up to a level where we can attain access to higher states of mind. It's for this reason that if you are really interested to learn meditation, you'll be advised to meditate at home each day if you can, so that you're able to develop the continuity of your practice. Let me just finish up with a couple of news items, one about merit making at the temple and a second about the availability of meditation apps online. At the moment, as you probably know, the activities of the temple are reduced to those we can share online, as the temple has closed its gates with no monks going out into the community and no community members coming into the temple until the risk of COVID-19 contagion has passed. Although all of us hope the present situation will not last too long, the silver lining for the crisis is that there are additional or perhaps different ways in which the temple devotees can show their support for the temple without attending in person. Such efforts are in line with the caremongering that you see widely reported around the world at the moment. Since March 15th, the temple has thus inaugurated what's known as a weekly merit fund, whereby devotees can pledge and transfer donations of money, any amount you can spare, to be used for necessary things in the temple like food and medicine to keep the temple community going. with further details to be found on the temple's DIMC family line group, or you can ask about it by phoning up members of the temple staff. The special merits arising from those contributing to the COVID-19 Silver Lining Fund are that you will have a life free of obstacles and danger, you will gain mastery from all forms of knowledge, prosper in your duties, have special insight into Dhamma teachings, attain purity with ease, breaking free of the defilements in the mind. You will gain wealth on a worldly, spiritual and transcendental levels, allowing you to pursue perfections with ease in all the way to the attainment of the utmost Dharma. And the whole temple would like to rejoice in your merits on this occasion. Paying attention to what's happening in the moment is difficult in this age of COVID-19, but meditation can also help us cope during an unsettling time. Especially if you're worried about tomorrow, just try to focus on today, since without meditation most of the time, our minds are locked in the past and future. Meditation helps to put you in the moment. Most people have no problem coping as long as their minds are in the here and now. If you can put yourself in the present, you can handle difficult thinking. Since there is a tendency for people to become more anxious as they self-quarantine at home, being able to meditate more than ever is a great opportunity to alleviate stress, depression, and insomnia, and as a way to cope. People often feel discouraged when they first give meditation a try, because their mind goes in a million directions. But really, this is to be expected for anyone who is new to meditation. The important thing is to keep trying rather than giving in to worry, especially now when there's so much potentially to worry about. Use meditation to come back to the present moment. Your practice will get stronger every time you're able to bring the mind back to the present moment and to the center of your body. Try to avoid letting your mind get entangled with worst-case scenario forward thinking and focus on what's happening now. If you were to use a train metaphor, the moment that we realize that we've been lost in worry, it's possible to get off the train if we're a meditator. If you realize that you're on the train, it's important, if you're a meditator, to know you can get off the train. And as you practice mindfulness more, you'll be able to find that you don't even have to get on the train in the first place. You can stay on the platform and let all those scary thoughts go. In this respect, here at the temple, although there is no face-to-face teaching sessions in the temple at the moment, you can log into Dhamma teachings in English at the YouTube channel called DIMC Information, either live on Thursday evenings and Sunday mornings or on demand after the event. Also last week, one of our volunteers called Tipsarine Indakanok, or B, and her team in Georgia has released a mobile phone app of English language meditation and Dhamma teachings from various monks in our organization, which is available free of charge from Google Play Store for the Android version and the App Store for the iOS version. The name of the app is MindGem, spelled MINDGEM, and in this app there are about 10 versions of meditation instructions in English from myself, Lumpy Sander, Lumpy John, Lumpy Pasura, and Lumpy Clint. There's also Dhamma teachings, inspiration from the translated books of Venerable Dhammachayo, and a meditation countdown timer. So, this week we've looked at some of the benefits of meditation and the special approaches needed to study meditation successfully and how to cultivate these to maximize the progress in our meditation for this week. Next week, we'll be looking a little bit more about how to integrate meditation into our daily life. And for good measure, I would like to remind viewers again that you can send in questions, and I will do my best to answer these next Friday, as it seems that the program will be in English each week now between 5 to 6 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on Fridays. In the meantime, try to maintain a positive mood, speak only positive words, forgive others, extend good wishes to others, and meditate daily. Try to notice your meditation experiences and take special interest in the difference between how you feel before and after you meditate. So for today's program, this is me, Phra Nicholas Thanissaro, signing off for this week. Good evening, everyone, and stay safe.